Hello, kindergarten class. Today we're going to keep working on our sea turtle. So go ahead and pull that out. We're going to work on that together. Now, a few kids that are in Miss Schultz's class didn't draw this turtle yet. Let me pull it up on the screen here. So this is the turtle that we're drawing. If you didn't do this yet, I want you to pause this video. So if you were in Miss Schultz's class and didn't draw this, or maybe you missed live art class last week and you didn't draw this turtle, what I want you to do is pause this video and scroll down on my Canvas page. I made a video of how to draw this, okay? So go ahead and watch that video and then come back to this one, all right? So pause the video, go draw the turtle. Everybody else, pull this turtle out. We're gonna start adding color. Now, I know some of you added a little bit of color to this already. Okay, so there's two ways that we're going to add color today. We're going to add color by outlining it with our crayons, and then we're going to add paint, okay? If you have watercolor paint or if you have markers. Now, you might not have watercolor paint or markers at your house. If you don't have these supplies, then you're just going to color it in with what you have, okay? So whatever you have, you're going to color it in with those things. But you have these supplies, you're gonna pull these out in a little bit. Okay, so the first step, let's zoom in on my turtle here. The first step is that we're gonna outline everything with crayon. So get out your crayons and you're gonna outline everything in this picture with crayon. So basically you're gonna go on top of all of your pencil lines with crayon. Now, don't color it in yet. Just go on top of your pencil line with your crayon. So my turtle's green, so I'm going to take a green crayon and I'm going to go around the shell. And I'm going to just go on top of all of my pencil lines. So all the inside pencil lines, all the outside pencil lines. And I've got a few different colored greens here. I like to kind of mix it up with my different greens, just to have it look a little bit different. Okay, so on yours, I want you to do the same thing. So do this right now. Then you also want to do the same thing on the coral reef. So if you didn't draw enough coral reef, you could pause this and watch the other video and I show more of how to draw that coral reef. But your coral reef should be super colorful. So you want to use really bright and colorful crayons for outlining your coral reef. Reds and pinks and purples, and blues and yellows. That's what I want you to do for your coral reef, okay? Okay, so I want you to pause this video and start it again once you are done with all of your coloring. So once you're done with all of your coloring, you should have something that looks like this. Now what I want you to do, once you're at this spot here and every single pencil line has a crayon on top of it, get yourself a cup of water, only fill it about half full, and get out your watercolor paints or get out your markers and some water and some Q-tips, okay? So these are the supplies that you need. Now, if you don't have these things, okay? If you don't have these supplies, I just want you to color it in. Use your crayons to color it in, okay? So if I didn't have markers, I would just start coloring in everything on my turtle. And maybe some of you have already colored in parts of this already. That's fine. That's okay. I just want a nice color picture, but I know some of you do have paint and you want to practice with those paints and get better at them. So I'm going to show you some things that you can try out on this, all right? So we're going to do a special technique with my watercolor paint here called wet on wet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my paintbrush wet. So I'm going to dip in the water. And I'm just going to spread it onto my turtle shell. You notice nothing's happening, right? I'm just putting clear water on my paper. Now at home, you want to be very careful. If you've got thin paper, you want to put extra paper underneath it. You want to be careful because thin paper, once you get it wet, it's like regular computer paper or notebook paper. If you get it wet, it can tear very easily. So I just got my shell wet. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip this and I'm going to dip it in my green paint. So I'm going to get a little paint on my brush and I'm going to just drop my green in certain areas. If you notice what happens there, see how that green paint kind of spreads out? The reason why it's spreading out is it likes to go where the water is. So it kind of spreads out and moves around where the water is. I'm going to rinse out my brush really well. I'm going to get a different color. I'm going to get a little blue. So I'm going to use green, blue, and yellow on my shell. Watch this. I'm going to drop in a little dots of blue. And you see how they kind of spread out also? So this technique is called wet on wet. I'm putting wet paint on wet paper, and it kind of mixes and spreads around. And it's just a fun, different way to kind of paint things, okay? So especially in the turtle shell, I want you to try that if you can, okay? And if you want to just paint traditionally, if you want to just say, okay, I'm going to paint his fin in right here, that's fine, okay? If you feel more comfortable doing it that way, that's okay. And again, maybe you don't have all the colored paint. So maybe you want to use like markers. So in my coral reef here, you could just color things in like this, just color in traditionally, or you can use that sort of fake watercolor paint technique I showed before where you dip your Q-tip in water, okay? And spread around the paint, the water, spread around the marker like it's paint, okay? And that can be a fun way to do this as well. Even when with my already wet paper, the marker doesn't work so well. So we'll go ahead and spread that around. That can be a different way that you can color this in too. So there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of go about doing this. So today, maybe get the turtle done. You don't have to finish the whole thing. I know that we spend 30 minutes on art and it might have taken you a little while to do your crayon work. It might take a little while to get out your supplies. It's going to take you a little bit to clean up, okay? So spend some time on the turtle, spend some time on the coral reef, and bring what you have to class. We might finish it up in class, or I might just have you finish it up outside of class at some point too. And depending on where everybody's at next week, we may just move on. Okay, so I'm excited to see your turtles next week when we meet live, and I'm looking forward to seeing your artwork. So keep working hard on this, and I will see you guys live in class next week. Bye-bye.